we talked a lot about the Vaush situation on yesterday's stream. If anyone's been living under a rock and isn't familiar with the controversy, Vaush accidentally opened a folder of his stash on stream the other day. A lot of it was AI generated furry porn, most of it involving horses. But unfortunately, if that was it, it wouldn't be much of a controversy. The reason why it's a scandal is because some of these images also featured lolly porn, which is basically like animated CP, just to put it bluntly. Yeah. Yeah, it's all very weird. But anyway, let's get into the Hasan element of this. There's a couple layers to this all. We're going to get into the Keffals stuff in a second, but let's get into Hasan's initial reaction to this whole situation after Vaush was called out by Ethan Klein. I figure we can react to like 7 minutes of this or so, and then get into a little bit of the Keffals stuff before we get out of here tonight. But yeah, Hasan going off here. As you guys know, Hasan has bit his tongue a lot. Specifically as it relates to his enemies like Destiny and Vaush. He's done a pretty admirable job at not taking the bait when they've like incessantly tried to bait him into drama and beefing and everything like that. But now that this whole situation has unfolded, Hasan has seen it fit to respond and react and discuss and, of course, condemn, as we're about to watch here. This was pretty funny, in my opinion. Yeah. Let's take a look.
Go ahead and hit play. I'm going to pee really quick, but I'll be right back.
Cool.
But I've been waiting for this so long for this moment. I'm glad Ethan cooked them. Yeah, I mean, look, it's just like one of those weird things, all right? Like it's just there's a lot of weirdness going on in the debate side of the world in general, but this is part of the reason why I think like debate lording this kind of stuff is so dumb. Because like this is apparently after the folders were leaked and the contents of the folder were leaked. Okay, here was his response.
The other one is like a threesome with two chicks and a guy. And in retrospect, looking at it, knowing now that artist is a lolicon, yeah, I can see it. When I looked at it, I think the vibe that I got was like short stack thick kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like the way like goblins get drawn in porn. You'll have to entertain me for a moment on this presumed shared knowledge of how goblins get drawn in pornography. But you know how they're all.
How do you string these words together? You will have to wait. Oh God, I gotta run this. This is the best part.
Thing, you know what I mean? Like the way
this is also proof that Vaush potentially runs the most insular leftist community online, or at least on YouTube, because like Hasan's 100% correct. What other streamer would possibly think that that's a good excuse or a good way to get yourself out of this situation? Oh, I thought they were goblins. Like, you guys know what I'm talking about.
Like goblins get drawn in porn. You'll have to entertain me for a moment on this presumed shared knowledge of how goblins get drawn in pornography.
He is very skilled as an orator. Okay, like this is what debate guys are. They're very good at rhetoric. They're not exactly super knowledgeable. Maybe on goblin porn they might be, but like this is the same energy as Destiny too. They're one of the same, two sides of the same coin. Obviously, Vaush is a lot more like leftist principles and values.
So true, by the way. I've been saying that for a while, but yeah, Vaush and Destiny, totally two sides of the same coin. They could talk themselves out of a paper bag. But yeah, 100%.
Values than the other, who is just like a neoliberal. But like the idea that you're like, no, actually, I'm going to debate you. Hello, it's welcome. I'm going to debate you on my divorce. I'm going to debate you on the contents of my porn folder. It's like, dude, don't do that. Don't do any of that. What are you doing? Don't do any of that. Just move on. People are going to constantly fucking bully you about it, but just never talk about it ever again. You know what I mean? What the fuck?
It's actually, can we pause it? This is what any sane person would do. This is what any like rational person would do. They would just be like, you know how there was that meme going around where it was like the FBI, like the CIA torture mechanisms could not pry this information out, but some people will just like post it, like, and people would quote tweet somebody and they'll be like, a true poster, just like absolutely mauling on the internet. Like, that's the energy that this gets. It's like, bro, just take your L. Like, retain whatever community you can get because they're so, deranged or that they just don't care about child. or they don't think that this is like a real issue, or they, chalk it up to separating the art from the artist or whatever it is that they're going to say. But yeah, I would never, ever, ever be like, well, it wasn't that bad, the child pornography. Like, what do you do? That's already a non-starter. It's already a political ender.
Yeah, and speaking of the debate bro stuff, we'll get back to the Hasan in a second, but update on the Ethan versus Vaush situation. There will be no debate, unfortunately, in my opinion, between Vaush and Ethan. This was on Vaush's Discord this morning. He says there will be no debate. All of this has been discussed at length. I talked to Ethan in DMs, and he came across insanely snakish, like a cartoon. LOL. That's funny that he said like a cartoon, given the contents of his own stash. But anyway, literally any direct engagement with him or anyone else right now will be interpreted disingenuously, like I'm digging myself in deeper no matter what I say. The streams will continue. The politics will continue. Oh, really? Politics in America will continue?
Like liberal Trump. This is like liberal Trump cope. This is like Truth Social, but for liberals. I swear to God.
Totally. Yeah. So I guess the Ethan versus Vaush debate won't be happening. And I kind of understand from Vaush's perspective, like, what are you going to, how are you going to debate your way out of this?
Up, dude. Yeah. He decided not to be a fucking idiot and go on this show and get humiliated even further. I mean, it would have been great content for us to farm from, but Jesus Christ, it's like, I mean, bro, you've already taken out your legs. It's like the scene in Monty Python's Quest for the Holy. He's like, oh, come on. It's like, I've already cut off your legs. And he's like, I'll bite your legs off. Like he's already cut off all your arms and legs. He's still, trying to scrap whatever the fucking analogy I'm trying to make. I'm sorry, I'm broken. It's late. You guys have seen Monty Python. You know what I'm fucking talking about.
Definitely. And again, I think this is probably the right calculus from Vaush. As good as a debater he is, as good, at rhetorical arguments and all that stuff. Like, if you find yourself in an argument, a debate bro situation, and you're defending lolly porn and why it's on your laptop, like, yeah, you've probably lost the plot. You know what I'm saying? Maybe get back to debating right wingers on whether or not the Holocaust happened, or that's where you belong, Vaush. Not this. No one wants to see that.
Debate people who are even more fucking unhinged and deranged, and just like, oh yeah, no, you're not. These people aren't looking at lolly porn. They're just advocating for the fucking ethno state of the white race. Yeah, fucking talk to those people instead. Fucking low blow. It's quite a fall from being one of the premier lefty streamers. Like, do I think this will be the end of Vaush? No, but boy, we're all going to troll him for it forever, and he just has to take that on the chin if he wants to bounce back.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think that Vaush is like going to be done. I believe his channel will probably be fine when all is said and done. His videos will still get views. I mean, one of his most recent videos has cracked like 120,000 views. So it's not like this is really gonna ruin him as far as views goes. But what I do think it will do is that, like, it's gonna really limit his ability to collaborate with other streamers in the same space. And this is something he's already admitted on his live stream the other night. He was like, yeah, guys, it's gonna be a lonely road. Basically, any sort of positive engagement with other leftist streamers is over now. He was essentially saying that, like, it's just gonna be me going forward on his channel. He's not really gonna try to engage with or collaborate with other lefty streamers because this is kind of hard to come back from. So I agree he'll continue to get the views, but yeah, socially it's going to be really tough for him to bounce back from this. But let's keep watching a bit more of this, if that's cool with you, Zach.
Favorite is also people in the chat going, but Vaush, why was it AI? Like, they don't even fucking, like, what do you mean? There's a horse cock with lolly, and they're like, dude, I can't believe you betrayed people by using AI horsecock porn. If you get your horsecock, it has to be straight from the source. I don't.
But you know how they're all like thick short stacks, right?
Oh God, this is crazy. Guys, pause it for 1 second. You remember this from yesterday. This is when he literally is like, oh yeah, this like goblin troll thing that's very obviously a minor. Like I was only into her because she was caking as fuck, bro. Like she was a real short stack. I'm like, what the hell? International Hounds of Pancakes, if you know what I'm saying, brother. Like, what is the matter with you, dude? Oh my God, this is insane.
That he tried to elude that like Ethan is transphobic or something.
Like the part where he said this is a pedophile community. Yeah, did he say that with regards?
Like I highly doubt he said that, but I assume that he's probably thinking that not because there's like trans members of the community, but instead because there's people that are defending your consumption and habits, and that's it.
So there being a lot of transgenders here. Is that what he meant? Curious.
I like how he tries to like reverse like woke gold, like reverse pearl clutch right there. It's like, no, dude, what you are doing is like the worst thing in the world for the LGBTQ community. Like trying to normalize child pornography is like deranged as fuck.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's like, bro, no one's going after your community because of the people in it. They're going after it because of you, dude. It's not because the people in your fucking community are trans. Like, yeah, I totally agree. It's yeah.
Anyway, Goblin mode. Vaush says Ethan shouldn't expose his love for Horsecock or make fun of him because it's election season. I swear to God, I'm dying right now. Video on the way. Ay, ay, ay.
Also, talk about a
Vaush needs his audience
narcissistic
to defend
personality
CP.
disorder. Like,
Well,
oh, if you
here's
fight
the
with
thing. I'm
me,
not gonna
Joe
scroll
Biden
any-
won't win. That's just, oh, if you fight with me, then that's bad for the left. And then, that's like, that sounds like something Hunter Biden would say. Don't investigate my wrongdoing. That would be bad for my dad, and he has to save democracy or whatever.
Any further because I don't want like anything accidentally to show, but the reality of the matter is he has debated the ethics of such things in the past. Like a lot of people in Destiny's fandom, for example, think that I'm talking about him all the time when I talk about debate lords, but like a lot of debate lords have done this, including Vaush, including Destiny, and many other people. Like there are so many people who make a living constantly fucking testing their intellectual metal in the marketplace of ideas that have done this. And to me, like I'm brain broken. I'm online all the time. I'm permanently online. Okay. This is my favorite thing. See, look. I've watched you for 2 years and I don't know who the fuck these people are. Yeah, because I never talk about them. And I think for the past 2 years, as these guys have cut like so much like fuck Hasan content, they legitimately thought I didn't talk about them because like I was scared that their ideas were far too good and that members in my community would go over there and be like, oh my God, you opened up my mind. No, the reason why I didn't talk about them is because it's irrelevant drama. Okay? Like that Tacoma Web shit lived in my mind, but I didn't want to fucking make that into content and like expand on it because I thought it was like silly, ridiculous. Okay?
To be fair, he'd already climbed
way, you
that
still
mountain
follow
because his
Pepe
uncle
is that who is
had
that?
a
Keffals
news
on Twitter?
network, and he didn't have to play with the YouTube algorithm. He just kind of
Right.
sat on the top of the mountaintop and was like cast aspersion on the people who talked about the other colleagues that they have in this new unfounded space of people who, in a salon style debate and disagree with one another. I hate when people admonish people for dumb shit like this. I'm like, God, yeah, you mean they talked about their coworkers? That's so crazy. It's almost like every single fucking industry does that. Do you know what we did before the NFL Super Bowl happened? For like 6 hours, we heard about every single fucking backstory and lineage of all the players and shit, and people called that journalism. With the second the Vanguard talks about a single one of the other fucking people that do this for a living, it's like, no, dude, they have an audience that they make the case to. If that's a bad case, you have to unpack that. And if they're simping for things like bestiality porn and fucking child pornography, you have to be like, hey man, I don't know how that impacts the politics, but in this case it certainly does because there's laws. And also there's just things as like bad looks for the left, and that's a really bad look for the left. And we already had this conversation about Vaush maybe 24 months ago, something like that, when the kink at pride discourse began. And then guess what happened?
I guess maybe it's not narcissistic for Vaush because he kind of did set this one in motion, butterfly effect style. But then we start seeing all of the groomer rhetoric and they're preying on our children. And then guess what? On Vaush's fucking computer, we find that he has you good?
Oh yeah.
On Vaush's own computer, he has child pornography. If we need to wrap this up, though, we can.
Oh no, you're good. I was just motioning to my girlfriend over the side to give me something.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, sorry, you're good.
No, yeah, I totally agree with you though.
Though she endlessly shits on you and is the number one peddler of you being transphobic, yeah, I don't care. That's my thing. Like, I don't even give a shit. Okay. And that's part of the reason why I've always been politics first, drama second. If I'm going to do drama, it's not going to be about like political commentators or whatever the fuck, but it's going to be about like silly internet drama because that's like a broad.
And yeah, I totally agree with you, Zach. I don't understand how talking about, silly internet drama that appeals to a more broad faction of viewers or whatever is somehow more serious than talking about drama as it relates to lefty streamers and stuff that actually has to do with people who talk about politics for a living. Because yeah, Hasan will constantly talk about drama. If it's like Colleen Ballinger, remember that, singer woman who had to do the apology where she strummed her guitar and talked about the toxic gossip train and shit. Like Hasan loves that shit. It's his bread and butter. But yeah, there's this
like
weird
just Pearly things like humiliated herself. She would be all up in it.
Right. But yeah, he does have this kind of weird attitude
it's just
towards
because he's looking at people who have like 10 million YouTube subscribers as the people that he'll talk to in the same way that we look at people who have like 500,000 or a million YouTube. They'll all like, no, we would never talk about I would never talk about fucking do dissidents in a serious way unless just to take like a cheap jab at them because I don't give a fuck what they're talking about because they're brain dead idiots and they don't intellectually challenge.
That'll be elder abuse.
It would be elder abuse too. We talk about that. I save that for people who are president of the United States. That's the only old man I'll kick while I'm down. Anybody, who goes to bed at 4:30, hey, you've paid your time in America. Collect your Social Security. If you figured out how to work a webcam, God bless you. I do appreciate that he's got some grandson or at least a neighborhood boy. I can never figure it out. He sweeps his patio, shovels his lawn in the snow time, ostensibly, rigged him up with some Wi-Fi. It's actually a wholesome story despite the deranged abuse. It's, it's like a Pedro Almodovarian, tie me up, tie me down. It's a Stockholm Syndrome story, really. I think there might be a hidden romance. We're not sure.
Audience thing that people care about. Okay. And yes, I moderate chat and my own community to the best of my ability to avoid this kind of fucking drama because I don't think this kind of brain rot is even in any way, shape, or form remotely productive. I'm unironically a bigger fan of you for not talking about them. The vibes they give off are always off, and I'm glad the vibe checks were correct. Yeah, it's just it's mostly because every single time.
And by the way, I do understand from Hasan's perspective why he doesn't want to talk about the likes of Vaush and Destiny in the way that we do. The difference, is that Vaush and Destiny both make a ton of content going after Hasan. They're constantly attacking him and, calling him at least in the case of Destiny, calling him a pro-Hamas terrorist sympathizer and stuff like that. So I can understand from Hasan's perspective why he's I just don't want to give those haters oxygen, right? We also take that approach when some asshole makes a completely bad faith video about us. We're not necessarily going to react to it on stream or give them the oxygen just because they went after us. So that is the difference between us talking about Vaush and Destiny and Hasan talking about Vaush and Destiny is that, Vaush and Destiny are constantly attacking us. They are constantly attacking Hasan. So I think that's fair that he just wants to ignore them.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, exactly. And feel free to all of the hater and doubter channels. If you're smaller than us, God bless you for even keeping this gig up for a living because you're probably putting in more effort than the returns would warrant.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get into the Keffals thing real quick. So Keffals took to Twitter and made some interesting statements. She's been defending Vaush throughout this whole process. And I watched her 20-30 minute long video that she uploaded on the subject matter. She basically filibustered for literally 15 to 20 minutes just describing the context of the situation, and then at the very end of the video was like, I don't think there's anything wrong going on here. I think Vaush just has poor judgment and he's a little bit he's not careful enough or something. It was a total cop out. She didn't actually take a stance. She didn't actually come down on one side or the other. It was kind of just like a fake video. But she took to Twitter to go after Ethan. Let's take a look here, because Ethan responded to this on his Instagram story. This is the original tweet from Keffals. She says, "I'm disappointed in H3 Productions for going after Vaush. You had me on your show and called me a hero for fighting against a far-right stalking forum that made multiple people kill themselves. Now you're using out-of-context clips sourced from the same website to attack people. Do better, Ethan." And then she quote tweeted this guy Tipster here, who's also been defending Vaush, who says, "Genuinely disappointed to see what H3 Productions did to Vaush earlier tonight. You'd think after everything Hasan's community as well as others in the past have done to misrepresent Ethan, he wouldn't be so quick to do the same to others. Yet here we are. He even used the same out-of-context clips alt-writers have used to defame Vaush time and time again. Whatever this was intended to be, there is one thing for sure. This was not the move, and it was extremely bad faith misrepresentation of Vaush." To which Ethan responded, "Who the fuck are these people writing, pun intended, for pornographic images of a poor fucking child? Am I losing my mind?" Again, and I think that's pretty relatable from Ethan. I think that's how a lot of us feel about the situation. Like, you know, despite how many disagreements we've had with Vaush on our show, like, I still enjoy his content, right? I still like Vaush. I don't want to believe any of this. I don't want to believe that he's a fucking pedophile. Are you kidding me? But if someone has lolly porn on their laptop, I'm not going to defend it, no matter who they are. And I think that Ethan is kind of speaking to that here by being like, what the fuck is going on? Why are you defending this? Like, it doesn't matter who it is in question. This isn't defensible. So I totally relate to Ethan here. And I think it's bizarre of people like Keffals and this Tipster guy, who I'm not even really familiar with, to go out here and, you know, defend Vaush in this instance. If anything, just stay quiet, right? You don't have to add to the pile-on or the dog pile or whatever if you don't want to. Like, you don't have to come out here and say that Vaush is bad if you don't want to. But I don't know. It seems a little bit off to, you know, be defending lolly porn right now. Do you agree with that, Zach?
Here's what you don't understand, Gavin. It's really sad. It's a really sad state of affairs that we found ourselves here in media as a new media space, right? While you're out creating a amorphous fake villain of somebody who would consume child, even though it was only AI generated, right? You know, it might have had a ginormous, veiny horsecock penetrating a small, hapless, helpless child. But do you know the real danger that's facing the earth right now, bro? In America, particularly, it's the Communist Party, bro. It's the deranged lefties on the internet. We have to rally together around the people who are fighting the good fight, like Vaush, the kind of people who will tell you that you actually, hey, man, you need to vote for Joe Biden. Okay, because that's what Destiny said too. And those are the two most powerful streamers in the orbit, right? And you know, we've already addressed this about Keffals. She's definitely the type of streamer that is only interested in like kind of triangulating on an audience, wants to grow, had that huge explosive story, gained a massive profile, not quite able to sustain it because let's be honest, her streams aren't that interesting and her politics are pretty bad, and so is her judgment. Just look at this as an example. Okay, I'm just being honest, right? You know, it is what it is, okay? You think I hate glass stones the way I'm handling The Rock, all right? Tyler, the Creator. But it's true. She does it. She's just, you know, and so I'm not surprised by this. I think she's trying to ride a wave. She knows that there's going to be super vulnerable, super defensive, hardcore Vaushite community out there. There's going to be a lot of an overlap with the people who hate tankies, right? And so, yeah. Anyway.
Okay, Waleed is here. Anyway, but yeah, Keffals said, "I'm disappointed in H3 Productions. You had me on your show and called me a hero for fighting against a far-right stalking forum that made multiple people kill themselves. Now you're using out-of-context clips sourced from the same website to attack people. Do better, Ethan." Hey, you didn't... Who the fuck are these people writing, pun intended, for pornographic drawings of a horse fucking a child? Am I losing my mind? hey, you didn't address anything I said. I'm not pro lolicon, and if I thought Vaush was, I wouldn't defend him. Can you please have a discussion about this instead of putting me on blast for 2 million Instagram followers and pedo jacketing me? It's gross. Ethan, I know you're going to see this, even though you won't respond. I defended you a while. You were having a meltdown.
Whoa, can we pause it for a second? What the fuck? I hate that stupid shit, dude. She tries to go out there and she like takes a clear shot at Ethan, and then he puts her on blast, and she wants to bitch about how he has way more Instagram followers than her. Fuck you, dude. You tried to pick a bone with the face. Embrace the fight or don't. Be like, hey, fuck you. Yeah, now you want to engage with me. Like, now I've got your attention, motherfucker. Like, here's my screed. Right now, all your followers will look at my response, and I win. But don't bitch out for no pun intended. I mean, I don't know, no pun intended. Oh, well, sorry, people are gonna be mad at me for saying that, but it fucking was what it is. You know what I mean? Like, you can't do it. You can't be like, oh, I'm gonna fucking poke the bear and be mad when they bite me. Like, what the fuck? That's
especially when it comes to this subject matter. Like, yeah, it's kind of a unpopular opinion you're treading into.
You're literally dying on the wrong hill, and yet, and then you're going to turn around and pearl clutch. I hate when people do that. Vaush did the exact same shit. It's bullshit. It's a right wing tactic.
Show some shared ability to those who showed it to you. I'm not your enemy, dude. These people, like, what are they doing? They literally think it's like a tit for tat. They're like, hey man, I defended you actually, and you know, you're the big content creator that I defended, and why aren't you defending me right now as I'm saying unhinged things in defense of a person who was exposed to have like a bunch of lolly horse porn in their fucking porn folder? Like, you're demonstrating what your framework is. It's just quid pro.
That's the other thing. I looked up a few of them, and like, oh God, I wish we could put them on screen. I wish we could just put like one or we can't. I don't think we can. Gavin, are we allowed to do that? Is that like a YouTube violation? I was gonna say, is it like a judgment call? Because if it's a judgment call right now, I'm like, fuck it, let's do it. If you go on Reddit, you can find, because Reddit has like way looser content. But like even some of the one, like you can't, like, I don't know. I didn't want to like be Googling like fucking, but I tried to like vaguely do my own homework anyway.
Yeah, no, it's bad.
They do exist, is what I was saying.
Yeah, if you feel the need to see for yourself, you can find them on Reddit. It wasn't
the fucking thing that I felt the need to see for myself, but after I did the whole thing yesterday, I was like, I wanted to make sure that it was at least bad, and I looked and I was like, oh no, it is bad.
Yeah, it's bad.
Oh, Joe, right? Exactly like Donald Trump. You're right. Quid pro Joe. What is happening? And also, it's always like, you know how TikTok make motherfuckers use words like unalive and shit? Okay. Hold on. Okay, unlocking. I feel like being in the debate sphere and in the debate space basically breaks your brain or rewires it in a way where you start talking in a very specific fashion. You start saying, buddy. All right, buddy? All right, Waleed is here. You start saying... You start having this like very weird style of speaking where you're like, excuse me, why don't you address any of the points that I made in defense of my friend's like horse porn folder leaking? Like, no, man. Sometimes normal people go, hey, I'm gonna stay out of this. Okay, my dude. Newsflash, buddy. My dude. Why don't you become an honest interlocutor and debate me in good faith about horse porn? It's like, okay. Like, what is this?
Where's the lie?
Sometimes it's fine to just not do that, to not engage in this kind of thing. That's it. That's all.
And I totally agree with that. Like, when it comes to Keffals specifically, I understand. Vaush is someone that's been Keffals' friend supposedly for several years now. Like, and as an internet streamer, there can be a lot of pressure to come out here and like condemn your friend or, you know, talk shit on another streamer who you've built up a good relationship with. And it's like all of a sudden the, you know, pressures of making money and getting views, it's like, does it outweigh your relationship with this person? Should I talk shit on them because that's what my audience wants, even though this is someone I'm actually friends with? And I understand that it is complex, and I would have understood, I believe, if Keffals had just stayed out of it, right? If she was like, you know, I personally believe that Vaush is a good person and I don't want to contribute to this dog pile, so therefore I'm just going to stay out of it. I think most people would have understood that, right? Like, we wouldn't be out here excoriating Keffals for like, why hasn't Keffals weighed in yet? Why hasn't she attacked Vaush? But what you didn't have to do was come out here and make an affirmative defense of his lolly stash that he revealed to the public, by the way. It's not like, again, as I said, it's not like he was hacked. It's not like, this is dubious in any way. It was his stash that he leaked, and no one put a gun to your head and forced you to come out here and defend it and try to call out people who were having the obvious and, authentic reaction of being a little bit grossed out by that. So yeah, I'm just like, you didn't have to come out here and say anything, but you did, and you defended the guy and his lolly stash. So now you kind of have to answer for that. So
white knighting for the dude with the lolly stash of fucking horse porn ain't it, pal. I'm sorry, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. You like, it's like my new catchphrase, right? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Well, she played a stupid game and she won a stupid fucking prize. She humiliated herself and made herself look like a fucking idiot.